Once upon a time, a crow was flying through the sky with a large piece of meat in its beak. It had caught the meat earlier and was now searching for a quiet spot where it could enjoy its meal. However, as it flew, it noticed a flock of eagles following closely behind. The crow grew nervous and tried to fly faster and higher, hoping to escape the eagles' pursuit. But the eagles were relentless and continued to follow the crow wherever it went. As the crow flew over the outskirts of a village, it saw a monk sitting under a tree, deep in meditation. Seeking refuge, the crow flew down to the monk and begged him to save it from the pursuing eagles. The monk opened his eyes and looked at the crow with compassion. He said to the crow, "Don't be afraid, my friend. These eagles are not after you, but rather the piece of meat that you are holding in your beak. Let it go, and the eagles will follow the meat instead." The crow was hesitant to let go of the meat, as it was its only source of nourishment. But as the eagles drew closer, the crow followed the monk's advice and dropped the meat. The eagles swooped down and began to fight over the meat, allowing the crow to fly away unharmed. Grateful for the monk's wisdom, the crow flew back to him and thanked him for his help. The monk smiled and said, "It was nothing. I simply helped you see the truth that was already there. You held on to the meat out of attachment, and that attachment caused you suffering. Letting go of attachment is the key to true freedom." The crow was intrigued by the monk's words and asked him to explain further. The monk went on to teach the crow about the nature of attachment and how it leads to suffering. He shared his wisdom with the crow, telling it that the same principle applied to all aspects of life, including our habits and relationships with others. As the crow listened to the monk's teachings, it began to understand the importance of detachment and letting go. It realized that holding on to things too tightly would only lead to suffering, and that true freedom lay in the ability to let go. From that day on, the crow lived its life with a newfound sense of freedom and detachment. It continued to fly through the sky, but it no longer clung to things out of fear or attachment. Instead, it embraced the teachings of the wise monk and lived a life of peace and contentment.